evening, welcome to Leicester Fan TV. My name's Phil. How are you? International week again. Don't you love them? No, we don't. We can't wait for Saturday. Well, we've actually got a 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday at home. Who's looking forward to it? Stoke City. Now, back in the day, and I'm going to bring Roy on very shortly, back in the day, he'll probably remember like me, Stoke City at home down at Filbert St used to be one of the biggest games of the season. I know you lot, younger lot, will be going, what, Stoke? Back in the 70s and early 80s, they used to bring so many fans. What a day it was. Do you want to talk about Stoke? Do you want to talk about John Rudkin? How things have changed in a week? Where's he gone? Has he moved anywhere? Is it all a smokescreen? We could talk, or we could just focus on the football. How are we going to get to past those guys from red and white? Let me know. It's your show. We've got 30 minutes to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. So join us in tonight's Fan Zone show. Get your comments in.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.
Yes, good evening, welcome. Thanks so much for everybody joining us. Don't forget, get your views and comments in. Let's get a few straight in there. Nick Moore says, first 3 p.m. home kickoff. How can it be November the 22nd and that is our first game of the season that kicks off at 3 o'clock? Do we want to have a little moan about that? Because I tell you what, I've missed 2 or 3 matches this season because they changed the days, the kickoff times, and I'm like, I can't do that. I put my life ahead and I can't make the new date. Sadly, some things you can't cancel. So 3 o'clock on a Saturday, I'm looking forward to it. Bass says, Merry Christmas. Bit early for that. Although I hate to say it, as anybody else, the kids in our house have put the Christmas tree up in the lounge. It's ridiculous. I've said no, but you can guess I don't rule our house. So they put the tree up. Has anybody else put the tree up already? Yesterday it went up, the 16th of November. The world's gone mad. Jordan says, definitely need to play better than the Norwich game. Listen, the win is a win. That's, to be fair, that's all I think we need at the moment. I don't care how we beat Stoke. Let's just make it 3 points at Norwich, 3 against Stoke, move on to the next game. But we do need to play better, but I'll just take the points at this stage of the season in there. Good evening, Sean. Hope you're well. Let us know your views and comments. Toby, hope you're well. Again, what do you think, Toby, to Stoke coming on Saturday? You looking forward to it? Or are you kind of like, let's just get the points and move on? Andy's, good evening to you. Hope you're well. Let us know. We'll get on to score predictions and lots of things. Now, Roy has joined us. I'm going to add Roy in. Thanks for clicking in, Roy. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Phil. Yourself?
Good, yes, Roy. Good. Welcome to the show. Just briefly, you've been a Leicester fan for a long time.
Too long, yeah. 1968 when I first went down the old Filbert St, and then a regular since '69.
Roy, you know when I say now, when I started going down in 75, 76, so I'm thinking late 70s, early 80s. I remember as a kid seeing Stoke City, and they always used to have the red and white bar scarves. They used to fill out the old cop in the corner, the away fan end.
Yeah.
My memories are vivid of Stoke City and saying to my dad, who are these? These are like massive. They were so noisy. Do you have memories of Stoke being like one of those clubs that made so much noise and really took over Filbert St?
Yeah, they were. I remember, probably the biggest one was when we played them in the playoffs and they came down and we drew 0-0. And they thought, that's it, we've got them back at the old Britannia. But obviously Parker had different ideas. But yeah, they absolutely swarmed. That was the word, the biggest support I've seen from them and the loudest was that playoff game. I always remember that.
Yeah, we've had some big games against Stoke over the years, haven't we? I mean, again, I'm going to say it's my best but worst memory is the Stoke away where we got relegated to League One. I don't know if you were there, Roy, or not that day in the rain, but I kind of am glad I was there to witness it.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the old ground. That was an experience trying to get in and out of there. The new ground, the Britannia's, was a lot easier. I've been there a few times, but no, I didn't go to that fateful day when we went down. It was one of those that, I don't know. I just feared the worst, and I thought I can't see us drop not to League One. But then I spent the following season going everywhere in League One,
and enjoying it. Yeah, I know it was a good season, that League One. Well, that was a reset, and maybe that's what we're doing at the moment. We'll come on to that, Roy. Just before we move on, you and me have got something in common. We both, as well, stewarded around the same time as stewards in Filbert Street. I used to do it. I did it when it was the Carling stand. It was freshly built as the Carling stand. I did it for about 4 or 5, 6 years. I think you were there a similar time. Were you in the members stand or the Carling stand when you were there?
Yeah, it was the Carling stand. I mean, that was one of the reasons that when they were building it, and there was a lot of sort of discontent, and people saying, "Oh, well, it's not going to open," and this sort of stuff. And they're asking for people to go down, and I went down, had a chat with them, and that. And one of the benefits of it, I mean, there was me and a chap I used to work with. We used to do the tunnel. So it was great. So we used to, get to see the managers, the players, and that sort of, and chat with them when the game was going on and that sort of stuff. But no, it was really good. And one of the other benefits that we got, because we're involved with it, the Carling stand, as it was new, they invited us to be part of the consultative committee when they were building the walkers, as it was then. Yeah. So we used to go and meet with the builders and that sort of, the techers round, and get our input as sort of safety stewards. What do you think to this? This is what we're going to do. So we had a good insight into that as well. So yeah, it was a bit of a good time to be there.
Just before we came on camera, Roy, you were saying about one incident you remember in the tunnel in particular with a certain returning manager. Tell everybody about that.
Oh yeah, that was a great night. It was Brian O'Neill. Brian Little's return after he just left us and went to Villa, and I think it was either his first or second game as Villa manager, and he came back, and it was a night match. And we'd had a briefing with the police, and they said, look, you've really got to look after Brooks. If anybody rushes down, because it was easy to get onto the pitch from the Carling stand.
It was just a step, wasn't it? There was just a little wall. Yeah.
So they said, look, you've got to be on your guard. So we stood either side of his dugout, and to make sure that nobody got to him. And obviously the fans had the liar sheets up and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
And behind us, where we were, bearing in mind this was supposed to be the family stand, they all had these little posters, liar on it, and they all running down and they were banging them and sticking them on top of the dugout. And of course, it was an artist wet and all sticking in. It was like ducking and what's going on here. It was fun and games that night. I tell you, he didn't want to go in the dugout.
No, I remember it well. It was one of those. There was obviously Mark McGee was Judas, and Brian Little was liar.
Liar, yeah.
We're not very forgiving, are we, Leicester fans, for all this? But I do like Brian Little, a good guy and a good manager for Leicester. Anyway, Roy, let's focus back on today's game. We've got some comments to come in here. Plenty of people letting us know. I'm going to bring on Stephen Reedy very shortly, but Patrick says here, what's the technical director of football going to do? Still be reporting to Rudkin, and we've got a recruitment person in Glover. Just another wage bill. Good job not facing PSR issues in here. Nick asks, what are your thoughts on the video from Top? For me, it's a smoke screen. Top kept saying there was a plan, but didn't say what the plan was. Roy, I understand what Nick's saying there. I'm feeling a bit like it's like they've moved people around a little bit, changed job titles, and now you can't see eggs isn't eggs anymore. So it's hard to judge who's doing what is how I read it. Because Woodkin kind of has got a promotion or not. We've brought in somebody who's got no football experience, and we're still looking for a technical director. So we don't have a director of football as such, is how I'm reading it. And the transfer window opens in 45 days. So what's your reading of it, Roy?
Well, I think the problem that Rudkin that we've got with Rudkin is that we blame him for a lot of what's gone wrong.
Yeah,
I think some of that is because Top's been so quiet since Vichai passed away, and we've had nothing really in terms of anything positive So I think Rudkin's been the easy target. In terms of what he's going to do in this new role, I think it is just a move to keep him out of the way. I think he keeps his title, so he keeps his salary and all the rest of it. My concern with that is that, are you going to get a technical director or somebody of the, with experience and quality, which is what we need, to actually join the club and think, well, I'm still answerable to Rudkin? Surely your technical director should address the board directly and the owner. There shouldn't be this extra layer, which will be Rudkin. So I don't know. I'm not sure what his role is going to be, Rudkin, in the whole scheme of this. But I think because it was so close to Vishay, and because Top relied on him a lot when everything was going off, I think he's seen as they're very loyal, the Ties, and I think they've got a strong relationship and commitment and a loyalty to him. So I don't think the club are ever going to get rid of him. He's never going to go anywhere because he's never going to get the role that he's got, the salary that he's got, and all the rest of it, because he has been promoted beyond his capabilities. Let's be honest. I thought they'd put him more in as an overseer to sort of look at the OH Leuven as well, and sort of work that umbrella, help Leuven and leave Leicester to the new technical director.
Probably haven't got a new technical director.
No, that's what I'm saying, and that's my concern. Yeah. I mean, if we could pull somebody in like a Dan Ashworth or somebody like that, then brilliant. But I can't see anybody of that caliber coming in thinking that they've got to report to Rudkin, because they're going to have so much more experience, so much more kudos than Rudkin has got, and you wouldn't see somebody like that wanting that sort of layer between him and the manager, the chairman.
Yeah, I'm going to bring in Steve and Reedy. Colin says here, which decisions that Rudkin has made since Vichai's death have been good? Well, listen, there has been some. You can't say, I'm not going to sit here and slate Rudkin for everything going wrong, because he has made some good ones. Yeah. He signed James Maddison. That worked out rather well. He signed Fofana. That worked out rather well financially. Maguire, and I'm making these up off the top of my head, Colin, but there are some good stuff that they've done, and there is some bad stuff. And just the last 3 or 4 years, there's been quite a lot of bad. Let's add in Steve and Reedy. Steve, thanks a lot for joining us. Firstly, Steve, I will ask you about your running in a minute, but firstly, Steve, what is your take? Is it a smokescreen with Rudkin? What? Everybody's got a slight take on it, or do you feel like no? At least Top's making decisions now again. You're on mute, Steve. Sorry. Dude.
Apologies. Sorry.
That's
mate.
all right.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I agree a little bit with what Roy was saying. Is that I think for me, you've got to just. It was very unlikely that John Rudkin was ever going to kind of get completely moved out of the club. I think it was always going to be some sort of sideways or kind of a step up. In terms of kind of what it looks like, but I think some of it is kind of it's dressing it up. Just I think to let him perhaps step aside with a little bit of dignity and credibility. And I know a lot of people will probably turn around and go, "Oh, he doesn't deserve it," or anything like that. I think for me, Rudkin clearly got a ceiling in terms of his capabilities. But I also think there are some things at the club that he's done which have been really positive. I think, when you look at the academy and the quality of the players that we're producing, that kind of, that's a real positive. And that a lot of that is down to kind of his vision, clearly. But I think also there are other elements of being a football director that perhaps he struggles with. And the way I see it is I actually think that we've probably turned the clock back about 18 months to when Enzo looked like he was going to stay in the summer, and there was agreements that club structure needed to be changed, because I think it had been recognised that it was running quite lean for a club of our size and club of our stature, and that it needed, I think Enzo's exact words were, there's some really great people at this club, but they need a lot of help. And I think that now has perhaps been finally recognised. I don't see it as a smokescreen. I think, if I'm just being honest, I think it's somebody that perhaps has realised that the club's getting, it's perhaps at a level now where it's got out of control and they do need to make some changes. There's been lots of mistakes. There's no doubt in that. I think for my way of seeing it, and people might criticise me for it, I think I'm just going to see what happens over these next few weeks, see who we bring in, and see what the changes. You know, everybody was saying, or a lot of people were saying, when you read Fox's talk and Twitter and everything else, we're all kind of the view Rudkin is not going to get sacked. So these changes are about as good as it possibly could be at this moment in time. But the proof will be in the pudding, and it very much depends on the calibre of person that we're able to bring in and what scope they're given and what their vision is. And I think that's the key bit. So I've kind of got a bit of an open mind, but I also understand why people are frustrated as well.
I think, Reedy, I agree with what Roy said, and Steve. My logic for you, Reedy, to try and briefly think about an answer is I've said the transfer window opens in 45 days. In life, in business, in football, it takes a bit of time. Deals were already being started discussing probably in the summer for what's going to happen in January, let alone now. So if we do want to see some moves, because we have to remember, Reedy, we spent £1.8 million in the last 18 months. That's it. Brought in a few loan people. Some have worked, some haven't in that time. And that £1.8 million person we brought in is gone. So we're left kind of without a director of football. What's your take on it, Reedy, knowing that the transfer window line is when people will judge what is going on with the club, like Steve says?
Well, you obviously know my opinions from obviously speaking about why I don't think Rudkin would have gone at all. But like you said, now things are hopefully changing for the positive. It all depends on who comes in. Again, is this technical director, like Roy says, is he going to be the one who controls who we bring in and who comes out? Or that's what I mean. We don't know who is going to be in charge of these kind of transfers and whatnot. But like you said, because it's so close now until the window opens, someone's got to come in pretty urgently. And we know Leicester, it's not going to be urgently. So at some point, this needs to go through, and hopefully it's positive news. But unfortunately, in my opinion, I don't think it is as of now.
No, I think there's still quite a lot to do. Roy, I want to bring it back to you. And I've kind of, we talked about Rudkin and Top. I kind of want to talk a little bit about Stoke on Saturday, Roy, with you. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that the atmospheres maybe change a little bit with this Rudkin decision and the Norwich win, Roy. How do you feel fans will be going into it? And what do you feel like Marty, again, needs to be positive before the game kicks off with his team selection?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think that sometimes he's been his own worst enemy, trying to sometimes put round pegs in square holes. I mean, I think we can all agree that Jordan James is not a number 10, but is an excellent number 8 or number 6. And that's where we get the best out of him. So I think, you know, he's got to go front-footed again. He's got to be positive. And I don't think Stoke are any great shakes, to be honest. I mean, Robbins has got a very solid unit. They are difficult to beat. But to be honest, I think their leading scorer's probably only got 4 or 5 goals.
It's more than any of our players.
Across the whole back line. You know. But they're not great scorers. You know, they're just difficult.
No, I know, Roy, quite a lot of Stoke fans are slightly surprised they're so high up, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, Steve, what about you? Thoughts for Saturday, just with everything that's gone on?
I think we need a positive performance. I think we desperately need a 90-minute performance as well, because I don't think we've strung one of them together this season yet. Obviously, we need to build some momentum in terms of results, but it would be good to get a result and string a 90-minute performance to, you know, from start to finish, be good, be front-footed, be attacking, be brave. Whether that happens or not, is another matter entirely. I just think we're in a state of flux, and I think this will carry on until January. I think Marty's having to juggle a number of players that potentially don't want to be here, that are in the shop window, big earners that I think are having to play, but don't necessarily really want to, or certainly don't want to be here in the long term. So I don't think we're getting any fluidity. I don't think he's got a team or 11 players that are fully behind him at the minute. So I think it's difficult to really judge him, and I'm not overly convinced that if he could pick who he wanted to pick, this would be the 11 or the 18, 19 players that he would select. I think I would love to see lots of academy players in there, but again, I'm not sure that the environment is right or the culture is right at the minute. And I think that quite quickly we could end up with a number of really promising players ending up going down a Luke Thomas route where, it's the wrong environment, they struggle, confidence goes, and you're suddenly in a situation where, you kind of... So I do think that I'm not 100% sure. It just looks like it's really fragmented at the moment. It just doesn't look fluid. I mean, when you look at the Fiorentina game, we look a completely different team, and yet it's the same group of players, barring one or two. So there's clearly stuff going on in the background, which is making it more difficult. But yeah, for me, I think if we could somehow muster a 90-minute performance and get a positive result, fantastic. If I'm being honest, I think it'll probably be another mixed bag and probably a 1-1 draw, if I'm being truthful.
I mean, Reedy, with everything that's happened with the Norwich game, it was such a bad taste in the mouth, the whole Norwich game, but yet we won. Rudkin's gone, or Rudkin's moved. So is this where we all come together and have a nice day and finally we enjoy football and, we get back to how it should be? It's a day of an enjoyment to play Stoke.
Yeah, well, like I say, we always say on paper we should be beating most teams in this league, but I don't know. It's weird because at every game I go into, I think, right, let's be positive, let's go and get a result, and let's play some decent football. We've not really played that much decent football all season. We have got some wins. We have had a big run of draws and losses the last few months as well. And obviously this win, I think it was the same as when we beat Swansea in the last game before the international break. And I thought, right, let's kick on. And that's where the run of bad results came. And going into this game now, obviously after the win and with what's come out, in a way, I'm like, right, let's try and be positive and go in and thinking, news has come out to be hopefully a bit more positive about things, and hopefully can bounce back after the win 2 weeks ago. So don't get me wrong, I'm excited to try and like I say, they're one of the top 3 at the moment, so we should be going in there thinking there's every chance we can get a result, because Coventry, they were top of the league when we played them and we did well against them. Middlesbrough as well. I know we conceded late to be drawing, but we probably showed that we deserved to be in the position there. But again, going to Stoke at home, for me, there's every chance you can win. And again, every game I go into now thinking, let's try and get a result, because we should be beating Stoke, even though they're in the top 3 at the moment.
Roy, I think, again, I know all of us have watched lots of football, but you and me, Roy, have perhaps watched a little bit more than certainly Reedy and a little bit more than Steve, because we're a bit older. But this division, to me, I'm looking at this league and going, I'm not seeing any team who I would really, really fear. No team is standing out either way. I don't see a terrible team either, but I certainly don't see a brilliant team. We played Coventry and done okay. We played Borough and done okay. Stoke are up near the top, Roy. Do you get the feeling that this isn't the toughest league ever? It just needs somebody to be a little bit consistent and emerge as one of the teams, and they'll go up this year?
Yeah, I mean, it is, to be honest, quite a poor league. Like you say, there's no standouts. We've played Coventry and we should have beat them. We've played Birmingham and we have beat them. Middlesbrough, again, we should have beat them. I mean, it was poor to let that ball in the last minute. And that puts it in perspective. There's nobody I've seen yet that I think to myself, these are, going to be running away. Coventry's got the points on because they can score goals, really. I mean, that's the thing. And that's probably why we're struggling where we are, is because we've been ahead in quite a few games, but we've just not been able to kill them off. And I think that's the trouble, really, with our season, is we need somebody to put the ball in the net. I get infuriated that he continues to play Daka, because he might be a lovely guy and he looks a lovely guy, but he ain't no footballer. He looks like a competition winner that's got a shirt.
I'm with you.
And I think if you're bringing in Carranza, then give him 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games.
I've got a feeling, Roy. I've got a feeling, Roy, Carranza might be the runner-up in that same competition, though. That's the trouble.
It could well be. It could well be. But, I think it's just one of those things. You've got to give the guy a chance and get everybody used to playing with him, and see whether it does work. Because Ayu's not the answer. He's certainly not a striker. Try him until the January window and then see what we can do.
Yeah, indeed. Steve, I need to ask Steve briefly. I think a lot of you will remember Steve came on maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago and was telling us about his run. Steve, just remind people about your run, that you were running 5K per day for the whole month of October, and this was to raise money for Prostate UK. And let us know what happened at the end, because you did get a nice touch from the club at the end.
To be fair, the club were absolutely amazing. I know they get a fair bit of stick, but they actually were unbelievable.
What did they do for you, Steve?
So they allowed me to run round Seagrave on my very last run on the Friday the 31st of October. Invited me and my family down, met up with the fan engagement executive, who was absolutely unreal. The media team were there. Birchie was there, so they met up with Birchie before I did my run. Had a chat with him. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And then we went out. They'd let it slip, actually, so it was meant to be a surprise that I was going to run with Kingy, and somebody let it slip, which was quite good, actually, because I think if they'd have actually wheeled Kingy out without me knowing, and then going, right, he's running around me, I think I'd have been like an excited school kid. I was glad I had a bit of a chance to had a bit of an opportunity to kind of keep myself thing. But and then Marty came out presenting me with a signed shirt from the club, and then did the run with Kingy, and then they put it all out on the socials.
Yeah.
So to be fair, like I say,
they looked after you well and truly.
They did. They were unreal.
Great.
And I would even go as far back to say it was probably similar to, when people used to go on about how the club used to be under Vichai and all that kind of stuff. It really, to be fair to them, like I say, they've come in for a load of stick. Rightly,
it's still there.
Certain things, but
we just need to see it a bit more, Steve. I think it's at Seagrave. It's hidden away, isn't it?
Yeah, like I say, I mean, there's so many good people working behind the scenes at the club. Genuinely, the people that I met and spoke to. I mean, like I say, I ran round Seagrave with Kingy for 30 minutes, and he never stopped talking to me. He's just the nicest bloke you could ever wish to meet. We had a good chat. He asked me my opinions on stuff. It was brilliant. He was just an absolute diamond.
Steve, you weren't too honest, Steve, about Rudkin, were you? It wasn't your fault.
No. No. I was very diplomatic, but we just had a chat, and he asked me about how I'd ended up supporting him, all that kind of stuff. But did say, he went, listen, be honest. What do you think? I won't say out to the gaffer, and he laughed. Well, obviously I was polite and respectful and whatever. But no, you can, like I say, I think he one thing, he says he really enjoys working with Marty. He says he's a good guy. So he didn't have to say that. I didn't ask him that. He offered that up. He didn't have to say it. So I kind of look at it. It was like I say, I think when you look at it, we've got it's a real mixed bag of a squad at the minute. You've got 3 or 4, 5 managers of of kind of recruitment. As we've learned to understand, the managers do get a say in that recruitment, which I think to some degree I'd quite actually like the club to bring in a real big hitter of a technical director that comes in and says, actually, the club do the recruitment so that you keep it consistent and not that you end up with kind of managers who want this kind of player, that kind of player, and then you end up with a real hodgepodge of and mix and match of profiles and and styles and everything else, which is why I think we are struggling. You know, you've got 4 or 5 players that Cooper wanted that are kind of outside of the profile of players we'd kind of signed previously. You've got kind of Brendan Rodgers is kind of last bits of his recruitment. You've got Maresca, and then you've obviously got kind of 2 or 3 under Marty, which again has been a bit of a mixed bag. I think Aaron Ramsey looks a good player, looks a decent profile. I think it's just been unfortunate that it's kind of been a bit stop-start with injuries and the sending off. You've got Carranza, which I think that one does look a bit of a strange one at the minute, or he certainly doesn't seem to be kind of ripping up any trees. And then you've got JJ, who I would say has probably been one of our best bits of business for the last 2 years. Genuinely, I think he would have been somebody I'd have been happy with if we'd have signed him last season when we went up into
the Premier League.
So I'm kind of hoping that profile and that kind of player is where we're kind of going back to, because it looks a bit like that with the Ramsey signing as well.
A bit more down to earth. Listen, we've not got long left. I need to ask you all some score predictions. So if you're watching, get your comments in. What is your score prediction for Saturday's game, Leicester against Stoke? 3 p.m. Don't forget. I know it's unusual, but it is a 3 p.m. kickoff. Let's start with Reedy. Just thoughts about the game briefly and score predictions, Reedy.
If I'm totally honest, and I know what I said earlier about being positive, but it all depends on who starts. Because again, I know we can pick up a bad bunch, but it all depends on who starts. I think if we get lucky, we'll get a couple of goals and we'll win the game. But so I'll go for 2-1, just because I think we're not going to not concede, are we? So I just hope we can get 2 goals somehow.
2-1. Roy, what do you think? What's your score predictions, Roy? Can you hear us, Roy? Roy, have we lost you? Roy?
2-1.
2-1.
2-1.
2-1. Okay, thanks for that, Roy.
2-1.
Nice and straightforward. Steve?
I'm on a bit of a lag, I think, but yeah, it's 2-1. It's 2-1.
We got you.
2-1.
Steve?
Heart says 2-1. Head says 1-1, I think.
My head says a draw as well. My head says a draw.
Yeah.
Your head says a draw, Reedy.
Unfortunately, as much as we all want to win, my head, it's just going to be another draw, isn't it? We're gonna score early on. We won't kill the game off to go 2-0, and then we'll concede another goal. But that's just how we've been, isn't it? So
let's get some score predictions in before we say goodnight to everybody. There's loads of people had a go. Craig says 2-1 to City. Craig, I assume is that Leicester, not Stoke City. Seriously, who do people expect us to attract with the situation in, says Keith. Still on a rant in there. Jordan says 1-1. Gary says 1-1.
There's loads of people had a go.
Filbert says 3-1. Keith says 3-1 to Stoke. The Toby says 1-0 to Leicester. 3-1 Stoke. Keith, 0-0. Oh, Keith, please don't let it be 0-0. That's too dull in there. Colin says, Ayew hat-trick. You never know.
Never going to happen.
Reedy's head says Daka's a good player. Yeah, exactly. You still do think that, don't you, Reedy?
Hey, out of the bunch of strikers we've got right now, I'll tell you now, as much as he's not going to score, he's the best striker we've got. Just because of what
I still like Reedy. I think Royce summed it up perfectly when he said he was the best. He looked like he was the winner of a competition on the pitch. I think that's perfect. Roy, thanks so much for joining us. Will you come on again, Roy? We're waiting. That's a yes. I'll just take it as a yes. He's on a time lag. Thanks for joining us, Roy. Reedy?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, he will. time, man. You got it. There we go. We'll take it. Thanks, Roy. Thanks, Steve, as well. Steve.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Roy. Steve, just quickly remind everybody about your charity. Still time to donate, I guess.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. It might have finished now, but yeah, it was Prostate United raising money for Prostate Cancer UK, and last time I think I managed to raise £4,160. So
that is immense. That is an amazing total, and well done on doing it. Oh, there you go. Reedy's just put a photo up.
Oh, nice. Two handsome beggars.
Yeah. Well, put it back up, Reedy. Are you related?
Yeah, Marty's my dad.
You're a bit tall. Is he quite short, or are you quite tall?
Yeah. No, I'm short. The best thing is, I got a picture of my lad, and my lad's about 6 foot, and I'm only 5'10". So he tied above both of us. But yeah, no, Marty is a bit smaller. To be fair to him, he was going to run with me as well, but he's got a bit of an injury. So he couldn't. Yeah.
Oh, bless. Well done for getting that, Reedy. Listen, everybody, thanks for joining us. I'll let you all go. Thanks so much for joining us. Last couple of comments. Let's get them in here. Thanks for Steve, Roy, Reedy for clicking. Thanks, of course, for all your comments in there. He's been on strike since he joined, says Toby. He's still having a Daka in there. Nick, a few people think Roy's in the toilet. Roy's in the downstairs loo, says Nick. I don't know if he is. He's definitely he's having a lag. It's a time lag at the end in there. He's been on strike since he joined. Yeah, we've had that one in there. Listen, thanks for all your comments, all your score predictions. We'll see you at the game on Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. Don't forget this week, Thursday is Fox's Focus at 7:30. Tactics Talk at 1 o'clock on Friday. We'll be doing match reviews before and after the game on Saturday, and then the famous aftermath. Jamie is back all the way from Alcudia. So join Jamie and make sure you get your views and comments to him on Sunday morning. Thanks, everybody, for everything that you've done tonight and for all the lads for joining us. We'll see you very, very soon.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.